We have Josh Hetterick of the Minnesota Team Handball. He's the president of their club. He blessed us with his presence today. Awesome.
Just to lead this off with a pretty simple question, how did you get into handball and kind of when did you start playing the sport?
So myself, I got into handball at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. So a lot of the people that are finding out about the sport and really getting fired up about it, getting a little bit of that itch of like, oh, this looks awesome, I got to play this. I was in that same position back in 2008. I mean, I'll always just kind of start off with, how you move the ball. I mean, obviously that's the biggest thing in the sport is making sure that obviously you get that ball through the net, but how do you move it forward? Well, you can take 3 steps before and after you dribble, and you can have as many dribbles as you want to. So it's not quite like basketball where like you have to have the ball and you have to like stay there and then you have to dribble before you move. I can literally grab the handball, take 3 steps, and then dribble, and then take 3 more steps. So that allows you to actually not sometimes, like even when you're going like on a fast break, sometimes there's not even a dribble on the ground because you have actually some mobility to move and not have to dribble. I've always been taught that dribbling is only there when you absolutely need it. Sometimes dribbling can actually slow you down because you're a lot more dangerous when you're able to just move and pass and just get it like one end of the court to the other, because spacing is such a big thing about handball. So that's probably one thing. The big crease that you see where the goalie is in, you can't go in there. I mean, you can, but basically just think of it as if you have the ball, you don't want to be in there. If you're on defense, you want to stay out of there. And that's why a lot of times when you see people go for a shot, they'll jump into that crease.
Right.
They'll sink it in there. And sometimes they'll even like wait until like the absolute last minute before they fire it. If it's in slow motion, you might actually see them touch the floor a little bit and get it off, but it's in real time.
Right.
The majority, I mean, the referee's not going to call that. And then I'd say another big thing about it is the defense. You've probably seen it on there. You can hit people.
Yeah, it looks just like a brick wall, and there's a lot of physicality. Tell me more about that. That was one of my big questions.
Don't think of it like rugby. Don't think of it like football. You're not driving through somebody. Like that's the thing in football especially. It's like when you tackle, you run through somebody and you drive your feet.
Yeah. It's
different than handball. In handball, it's like a strategic positioning of your body, and you stand tackle somebody, almost like you're bear hugging them.
Okay.
But you actually can't like hug somebody and grab and like lock it like that. You can actually sometimes be called for like a yellow card or a 2-minute if you do that. It's not. But what you want to do is we're always taught starting playing in handball. If somebody has their shooting arm up and they have the ball right here, you want to grab their arm. You want to grab their body so they can't get away from you, but so that you can bring down their arm so that they can't get that pass off. Because even if you control their body, they could easily just pass it right to their next teammate, and then the defense has to shift again, and you're out of position pretty much right then and there. But it's physical. You got to keep the offensive player in front of you. So if I have you in front and I still have my body pretty much right in front of you, even if you're kind of over here, that's totally fine. It's when you get past me, like if you absolutely like get past me, make me look foolish. If I try and grab you from the side, or worse, if I try and grab you when you're behind here and try and pull you down, kind of like a horse collar or anything like that, that's going to be a bad thing. You're going to get a 2-minute. Sometimes you might even get a red card, depending on like how severe it is. We'll utilize an offense-defense type strategy. There'll even be players on the team that honestly, like, they can't throw a handball, to really save themselves, but they're huge and they're big and no one gets past them. That's all they're there for. They're defensive specialists. There are definitely those in handball.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I noticed watching the game today, it seemed like Norway really had like one dude that they wanted to, I was watching Denmark, I think, and Denmark had like one guy that they wanted to shoot. And it seemed like all they were doing was trying to get him. And then I noticed the substitution thing when they would go on defense, he'd immediately go, yeah, he had the hair.
The band. Yep. Miguel Hansen. He He's probably arguably the greatest handball player in the world right now.
No way.
The guy has an ungodly shot. He'll be in any position and he'll just do this, and the ball's going 100 miles per hour. It's unbelievable. He's been tearing it up. He's been tearing it up since I started playing. I mean, do yourself a favor. Actually, I want you and everybody like on the podcast, you need to check out 2008 Beijing Olympics, Denmark, Russia. The game is literally ended. And in handball, when the game ends on a foul, so like if somebody grapples somebody and like stops play and then the buzzer sounds, it's not over. There's actually like a plant shot where basically there's just one guy that has the ball. Basically, it's the end of the game. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a wall of Russian defenders, and there's still the goal and the goalie in front of Miguel Hansen. Miguel Hansen literally is on a plant shot. He shoots, he gets it around the defense, and he scores and wins the game.
Well,
earlier you had mentioned something about like in the crease. Like, is there a couple of like little terminologies that there are that's kind of unknown? Because all three of us have played sports. I mean, similar to you. Like, I mean, we've played sports growing up, but it's just what is like the particular handball terminologies that we don't really know about or that we wouldn't know about?
Yeah, a lot of it actually is pretty similar terminology that you'd understand. But yeah, no. Let's see. The first one that comes to mind is what you know as an alley-oop in handball is called a kempa.
Okay.
Kempa. So it's literally
I saw one of those in the game and I was like, what is that?
Lobs it up, guy jumps, takes it, and just shoots in midair. Yeah, that's called the kempa. And honestly, I'd say 15, 20, 25 years ago, it was a big deal. Like, it was a blow the roof off the place type play. It's standard in handball nowadays. Like, you'll see it all the time. It'll be like, it's just kind of like what dunking is now in basketball. It's nothing. Like, standardized. Okay. A feint or a juke. In football, you know it as a juke, basically. But a feint in handball is basically, and you've probably seen it in the games today. You're literally right by the defender, and you're kind of just making a quick movement to get past them, to either get past them and take the shot, or even just draw that defender and draw the defender next to you so that you can pass it on to your next player, and then just keep it going until there's an open shot that they can take. So they call it a feint in handball. Just like soccer, there's red cards.
Right.
Yeah.
In handball, there's blue cards. You don't want to get a blue card.
Oh.
A blue card would be like the equivalent of like punching somebody in the face.
Okay.
We did have this one question, which is what sports skill-wise would best translate to handball?
Yeah, I mean, handball has so many sports entwined in it. You can absolutely see that when you see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's like a little bit of basketball, a little bit of football with the throwing, or baseball, and a little bit of soccer. It's just so many different things, but that go into it.
Kind of talking about the throwing of the ball. I will say, I would take, not from the physicality point, because football players, obviously they're a lot more physical, but
right.
I would take an outfielder in baseball or a pitcher over a quarterback any day.
Really?
The reason why is the way that you throw the ball. You don't spin it like that, like a football. Like you can get zip on a football because of the way that but with baseball, it's very similar to where you get a lot of the wrist action in it and really delivery of the arm, but also with the body. So I would say, as far as throwing, baseball might transition a little better than football, but football, I'll take the physicality of football any day.
see the sport heading as far as in the United States in 10, 20 years, 30 years? Like, where is its growth pattern going?
Oh man, I really hope it's going in the right direction because I'm 13, 14 years into it, and I don't know. There's honestly not a lot that's. I don't want to say there's not a lot that's changed because there's a lot that's changed. If I would envision anything, I really do think that stuff like this podcast, internet, you know, just the exposure of this is really going to help, and it's going to definitely get people interested. But we can only go as far as the amount of passionate people we have in the U.S. that want to get this going. People like me, because again, I literally just found the sport out on a random afternoon watching the Olympics, and now I'm running a club. I'm trying to get youth stuff going with it. I'm trying to get, you know, we have a Midwest league that I'm still trying to, like, you know, with the help of other players from around the Midwest, trying to get that going and trying to encourage people to start clubs. And, you know, you need passionate people to keep this going.
And again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time out of your day for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Catch y'all at the next tailgate.